Kaijus! What's up? It's your boy Kaiju Kong, aka 2K. Today's video is going to be a little bit special because I decided to make this the realest version that I have made as a Sigma male / outlier / soon to be kaiju. And in keeping with the realist theme, this is going to be unfiltered. Unfiltered in the sense that there are going to be no cuts, no edits, no going over my mistakes, no nothing. It's going to be a bit longer than usual, so those of you who don't have the time, either find the time or don't worry, I got your back. There are going to be timestamps down below too, so you can skip to your heart's content. Fast forward to the parts that matter to you. But the only thing I'm going to be doing is they're going to be the intro, the outro, the name in the beginning. That's it. Nothing else. Purely simple and minimalist. The only thing that's not real is my nose ring. Nose ring is fake because there are times when I like the nose ring. Today happens to be that day. And other days I don't like the nose ring. And the days that I don't like the nose ring, I don't like walking around with a hole in my nose. So for those of you thinking of getting a piercing or a tattoo or whatever, there are fake ones out there that you can try on to see if you like it permanently there. I don't feel like I'm dedicated enough to get the actual thing. So yeah. Anyway, this is the realest video that I'm going to be making, unfiltered, unedited. So hopefully this gives you a little bit more insight, hopefully a little bit of laughs, because there are going to be cringy moments. You're going to be seeing the behind the scenes of how I think and how I ramble, how I tend to ramble. And yeah. And for those of you, also the motivating thing is that for those of you thinking about starting your own YouTube channel, podcast, or not even in the video sphere, talking about writing, talking about producing content in whatever sense, when you start out, you're going to be nervous. You're going to be scared. You're not going to be good at it. And even me, I've been doing this since 2020, many years ago. And even now, after 2 years, I still feel nervous pressing the record button. Because for those of you looking at me, it's like normal. You're like looking at me as if we're tables width apart and you're spending your time with brother Kaiju Kong, just like another day in your life. But for me, all I'm looking at is like a small lens, black lens from my phone. Sometimes I feel like I'm stupid talking to an inanimate object. Now I tend to just try imagine that there's a face there. But nevertheless, sometimes the imagination fails and I catch myself thinking like, this is kind of stupid. What am I doing with my life? But I want to provide value. I want to help you guys. And so the questions that I receive from you guys, I know that many of them don't get answered. But I'm trying to build the content on this channel, trying to go beyond just being a Sigma male. Because the other day I caught myself, for example, thinking that I want to do lives because doing lives will be able to give me the capabilities to help you guys more. You can jump right in, send me your questions, send me super chats. I'll read them, answer them, and you can go in your merry way. The smarter, the better, the more motivated, you get a laugh out of it. But I told myself I don't want to do lives because one, I don't have the equipment, the cables. The reason why I don't have the cables is because I didn't invest in it. The reason why I didn't invest in it is because I told myself, well, me as a Sigma male, I don't feel comfortable. I'm a lone wolf. I like my solitude. I created this YouTube channel to help people, but I help in a way that I live my life to the most badass way that I want. And then when I have a eureka moment that I say, hey, this is something that I learned from this experience that I had where I can give to you guys, then I come on record and I make a video for you guys, then that's it. And then I go back to my solitude. But that's like, is that all that I'm able to do? No, I want to be able to do more for you guys. I want to be able to do more as myself. That's why in my YouTube channels, I never say be the best Sigma male or be the Sigma male. I always say be the best authentic version of yourself. That's why I remade my channel into not just being a Sigma male dedicated channel, not to just being an outlier dedicated channel, but to capitalize on this kaiju type of thing. The reason why kaiju in Japanese means strange beast. These guys have almost no limitations. They are the epitome of what you can become. The epitome of evolution. King Kong is the epitome of what a baby gorilla can become. Godzilla is the epitome of what a lizard can become. And even Godzilla and King Kong, there, as you see with the current movies, they're always upgrading, they're always evolving. How come humanity has not evolved? How come you have not evolved? And even if you try to evolve, even me, I feel like I'm guilty of doing this. I work out, I get big, but now I'm not anymore as big as I was before. Why? Because let me tell you this, let me preface this by saying this. Life is not easy. For those of you young dudes out there who get it into your head, life is not easy. Even for us outliers, life is actually harder for us because we like freedom. And if you truly want freedom, pros of freedom is that you get to do what you want. You get to spend your time the way that you want to spend your time. You get to buy the things you want to buy. You get to go wherever you want to go. You get to say whatever you want to say. But this freedom comes with a responsibility to spend the time that you want to spend your time doing what you want to do with your life. You got to make sure that you have your bills paid. You got to make sure if you live off the grid, your vegetables grown, you're well defended. You can be able to sustain yourself. And many who have taken this extreme off the grid or extreme sigma type of attitude, living in the wilderness somewhere, you're totally cut off from society. Society doesn't know you're there. You're very low key. You get to do whatever you want. But since society doesn't know that you exist, they do not take care of you. It's like you're in your parents' house. When you're in your parents' house, you have to do what you're told. But you get nurtured, you get food, you get a bed, you get shelter. Same thing with a circus monkey. What's the difference between a circus monkey and a wild monkey? Circus monkey, it gets fed. It gets sheltered. It doesn't feel the rain, it doesn't feel the cold, doesn't feel the wind, gets fed on a daily basis. But a circus monkey, the trade-off for that level of comfort is it has to perform for the circus. Many of us, that's the same thing. We work for a living. The system provides for us, but we have to give back to the system. Whereas the wild monkey, it can get to swing from whatever branch it wants. It can get to go to Abu Dhabi. It can go to the jungles of Amazon. Of course, the Amazon is all the way across the sea, but the monkey can do that if it's smart enough to not get caught on the boat. The only problem is it has to take advantage of its own life. It has to find its own fruit, has to build its own shelter. So, life is not easy. And let me go back to what I was saying. Life is not easy. It's not a Disneyland. It's not like I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life is plastic. It's fantastic. It's not fantastic, guys. It's fantastic when only there's some moments, there's some highlights of your life that are fantastic. But to get to those fantastic areas, you gotta work hard. But when you're young, sometimes you get to the fantastic areas and you're saying I'm not working hard, but I'm living this fantastic life. It's just because you're riding on the shoulders of giants. The giants were your parents. The parents provided for you. The parents funded your education. The parents funded your outing, your excursions, your travels. And that's the thing. Life, for me, has not been easy. Life is not easy, and these past few years have not been particularly that easy as well. The example is my weight. Let me get into this in a while. I'm not used to ranting on and on and on and on. I prefer to develop on my own thoughts and then speak my mind. So hopefully you guys bear with me. This is going to be a long type of slow type of content. I'm not usually like this. I'm very high pumped when it comes to action, but not necessarily high pumped when it comes to talking. I'm more of the quiet type. For those who know me, who are watching me, my girlfriend, maybe my friend, and some other friends back home, you guys know who I really am. I don't tend to talk unless it's necessary. Then I shut up, go back into the side and do my own thing, grind. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. I forgot to take that into account. My phone has a file size exceeds the limit type of a constraint. So this is still going to be unfiltered. I'm just going to cut back on what I said earlier so that I don't repeat myself. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, I quit my job. Following from like why I lost weight. I quit my job. Why? Because for those of you who don't know, I worked in a hotel. And I was a leader at the place that I worked at. You know, they always say Sigma males don't necessarily seek leadership. It kind of seeks them. Because Sigmas are men of purpose. We double down on our work and that's it. Alphas, they like the politics. They like the, look at me, king of the castle, la 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 la. I have a chair, king of the castle. Sigmas, not so much. Sigmas, we build the damn chairs. We build the damn castles. And because we're so damn good at it, putting our head down, when it comes to projects that demand that, people seek us as leadership positions. And because we know that we are the best at doing it, and nobody else is doing it, unless if someone else does it and they're going to be a complete piece of shit. We're just like saying, okay, for the good of the entire organization or for the good of this civilization, fine, I'll take on the reins of doing it. So we take on that leadership position. Do we like it? Not necessarily. Delegation is something that I'm still working on. It's a limitation that I'm going beyond. Remember the Kaiju mindset, beyond the Sigma male mindset. And yeah, even if you're an outlier, you can still be a damn good leader. Why? Because outliers, sometimes we tend to see things a different way. We tend to see potential in things that others don't see potential in. When a company is crashing, when a company is going bankrupt, we see that company and we're like, that company has potential, and we go out on a limb to help it. You see, Sigmas, we are alpha-like. And being an alpha, you gotta go first. You are the first in line to get maybe the glory or to get the praise or to get the little, what do you call them? To get the perks. You're the first, yes. If that's the type of alpha, there are other alphas that when they get the perks or they get the praise, they give it on to the team. Those are the good alphas. But alphas usually get the first thing, like you see in movies directed by Steven Spielberg. Is the first name. And do you even know who the stuntmen are, who are the director of photography? Not necessarily. It's usually the alpha of the thing, and the alpha in this case is the director. The thing is, if there's something messed up because Joe over there forgot to turn on a light in the corner of the room and then the whole scene was fucked up, and then they published it on the movie and it got criticized because, oh, no, the movie was nice, but the cinematography sucked. There was no light on that sense. Who are they going to blame? They're not going to blame Joe, the light guy. They're going to blame Steven Spielberg, the alpha. So as an alpha, you go first in everything. You go first in praise, yet you also go first in blame. And that's the true characteristic of an alpha. To be an alpha, to be alpha-like, Sigmas are also alpha. So if you want to be the alpha of an organization, the leader of an organization, you got to be prepared to take on that responsibility, to be prepared to take on that loss, to be prepared to look stupid in front of other people. And sometimes, like in that hotel that I worked at, I worked 16 hours, 18 hours, over 27-hour shifts at a time. Why? Because we were understaffed just due to COVID. Our company couldn't even afford hiring the entire workforce. So they laid off part of the workforce, like 20-30%. And the remaining percent, the remaining people had to make up for the work of those absent. And as a Sigma male, you're like, oh yeah, one-man army, time to shine, right? Yeah, time to shine. And I was doing so many things under one roof. I was like doing I basically work in the food and beverage department, service, restaurants, room service. But at the same time, I did not only service, but I was also in the back cooking, or I was doing making menus, and I was doing administrative stuff. I was doing so many things at the same time. And so sometimes, like, when the whole organization is failing, you as a leader have to kind of build it back up. You're the atlas where the world is on your shoulders. And sometimes the world is like on your shoulders and they don't even know that you exist. That is sometimes the curse of the alpha. The alphas, but the thing is, like, when you let go of the world, all of a sudden the world collapses, and then they realize that you were that important, but because you made it collapse, they're like, oh, he was actually that important. But they start like, they're fuck you, like, why did you let go of the world? No, it's your fault, fucking bastard, no. That's the thing. So I took full responsibility of that department, and I stayed over time. Did I get paid for that? I don't think so. But whatever the case, that's the thing. I didn't even have time to eat because, of course, the meals were paid for, like, company provided for the meals. So you get breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you are there working in the on-site. But I didn't even have time because when I was working that time, I was in room service. And since our staff was, because we were understaffed, I had to do the service myself. And so sometimes when I'd have to time myself. I'd have to time my meal times in order to have lunch at a decent time where nobody calls, because room service, we got two phones. I don't know why. It's kind of stupid, that type of system. You have to do the service and you also have to answer the calls at the same time. Stupid. Anyway, so many times I'd find myself going into the cafeteria, my phone ringing, someone wants something. I go into the cafeteria and virtually walk away without something in my stomach. Or the worst is, I'd go there, get my tray, put the food on my tray, sit down. When I'm about to put the first fork into my mouth, the phone rings and I gotta go. And I gained a reputation of people like, oh, there's an empty tray and there's like a tray on a table and nobody's there. Oh, it must be that guy's, because that's the reputation that I gained. So that's why I lost weight, guys. For many months it's been like that. And I had hope that things would improve. I had hope that, that I could make it. But eventually, because as a Sigma, as an Alpha, as a leader, people tend to take things for granted. That's the thing. And when things are running smoothly, they don't realize that things were running smoothly because a few key people were basically holding it up and struggling already. They think like, oh, because the whole system is fine, it's good. But they fail to recognize that there are already the key pillars of that system are struggling. That's why I lost weight, guys. And hopefully, because I'm back down at ground zero, I want to build myself back up physically, as I say, trap mentality, physically, but not only physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, and everything. The physical part, I'm at ground zero for myself. Remember, maybe many of you looking at me are like, what the fuck type of ground zero is that? You look kind of buff to me. Yeah, but remember, don't compare yourself to me. Compare yourself to yourself. And I compare myself to who I was back then. And who I was back then, I'm kind of a shadow of who I was back then physically. And so I want to kind of go back to who I was. If you use me as an inspiration. That's it. Don't use me as a role model of what your body should look like. Remember, as I always say, best authentic version of yourself. Not best authentic version of me. Not best authentic version of Bob. Not best authentic version of Barry over there. Best authentic version of yourself. So this is a journey for me as well. And in doing this, I hope to take you guys on this journey. That's why I'm looking at trying to set up lives or trying to set up more things. Maybe set up an Instagram channel where I'm going to put up like stories where I can motivate you guys and talk to you guys also live. But see if that's something that you're interested in. Just let me know in the comment section below. And I'm going to be sure to make something like that. But this is no excuse. I'm back at ground zero, but that does not mean that this is how it's always going to be. The benefit of being a Sigma is that you are the outlier. As I said, outliers, you think differently. And you're used to being a lone wolf. And many of life's darkest moments are when you spent alone. When you're broke, your friends all disappear. When you're low status, your friends all disappear. They make fun of you. When your company goes bankrupt, your employees, your vice presidents, those in your board, the board of directors, they'll leave you and you end up alone, trying to scrape up the crumbs and try to build something for yourself. And as a Sigma, which is why I believe these guys who are Sigma are better than the others, because Alphas, they need a tribe. They're used to having the tribe. Sigmas, we can live without the tribe. So given that the darkest moments of your life are spent alone, Sigmas, we thrive in that environment, so we can bounce back much easily. As I always say, not always say, but I always say to myself, to become successful, you must first push through the suck in order to become successful. You see? Push through the suck. And I think many of life's sucks moments are spent alone. And that's your strength. You spend your time in solitude. So when the company goes bankrupt, you're the one who stands up and says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have faith. You guys know how it is to work in the dark. You guys know how to work low key. You guys know how to work at strange hours. That's why you're outliers. Outliers, you do things differently. You think differently. You don't go where everyone else usually goes. So you tend to see things a different way. My brother, he works at Samsung, and I want to quote him on this because he says, I am glad that I like doing something that majority of the population doesn't like doing, and that is coding. And my brother is a very well-renowned programmer back home in the Philippines, and whenever there are competitions, he's usually in the top 5. And you do not get good at something that you don't like doing on a daily basis. And he loves coding. He can virtually spend so many hours in front of the computer. My mom has to always, when he was younger, my mom would always prod him like, stop the computer, stop, it's time to sleep. But then eventually, because they saw he would grind it almost every single day, sometimes he'd have to sneak in order to code. Sneak. Being the Sigma in the house to kind of like do things his way without the authority knowing. Sometimes that's what you guys have to do when you're at home. You gotta work extra hours. You gotta work odd hours. You gotta work when your energy is low because that's the only time that's afforded to you. How are you gonna make it out of society? Most of the time, even my brother says that they're giving him a lot of projects because he's one of the best. And he says, I believe this is how they keep their employees busy. And I told him, no shit. They keep you guys busy because they know that you are future competitors to the fucking company. If you had your own free time and you had the brains that you got the creativity that you got the know-how of the industry, you can virtually set up your own company, set up your own business. How did they prevent you from doing that? They try to make you super busy in your own time so that when you go back home, you're tired, you're exhausted, you don't have enough time to work on your own side hustle. Since you spend so much time in theirs, their company is virtually fast-forwarding and improving at a rapid rate. And even if you go back home to work on your side hustle that is competing with theirs, you can only go like one step at a time. So then they still win. And back to my brother, he was doing that coding for many years. And then eventually the results show. He got the job, he created games, he created programs, and he got some money out of it. And that's why my parents, my mom especially, she decided they understand eventually. They understand. Sometimes they think you're spending electricity on useless things, or you're not sleeping enough, you're not gonna be living a healthy lifestyle. They worry, of course. Family's there for a good reason. They worry. But sometimes it's all about showing the results. And when the results show, such as him, they kind of let him be. You get to start to do what you want with your life. So that's it. As outliers, you guys, many times, why are you outliers? You don't want to do what majority does. So the best thing that you can do now is to find a problem in society, or to find something like even with this metaverse that's coming out, this NFTs, or this new technologies. We are living in this time, my friends. For those of you guys who are smart and creative enough, you'd capitalize on that. Do the things that other people don't like doing, because whenever everyone else is doing it, you see, when everyone else is good at something, such as now, what is common? Business administration, all of this. Where the crowd goes, you kind of go away from the crowd. Because where the crowd goes, there's a lot of competition. And you see, even with products and services and economics, whenever there is a lot of supply, the price drops, given that the demand stays the same. But if you go somewhere like my brother was smart in doing, he went somewhere where nobody liked doing, which was programming and coding at a very high level. Who wants to spend time in front of a camera all the time? Almost nobody. Who wants to spend time in front of a computer all the time? Almost nobody. So we capitalize on that. Everybody else, I remember him like when he was back in, like he was like 10 to 11 years old. He was always, during the school breaks, he would always go to the computer lab and work on PowerPoint games, whereas everyone else was chatting, playing tag, playing whatever they played, looking at social media, whatever, if their social media existed at the time. I don't think so. So that's the thing. You grind, but the grind is something that you love. And because it's something that is unique, you're the outliers, when only a few competent people are there is a limited supply. And if the demand is here, these guys with this supply, they get to basically share the profits. The profits are usually higher compared to where everybody is good at or where everybody goes. And virtually everybody is replaceable, but make yourself irreplaceable. Go somewhere in an industry that is nobody's good at, nobody likes doing. And I believe that's what many of you guys are able to do. So it's not going to be easy, even if you like doing it. You know, they always say it's not going to be work if you love what you're doing, but even if you love doing it, like for me, I like working out. I like editing videos. I like making designs. For those of you guys who don't know, I updated the merch site, shameless ad. And I'm always updating the merch site because I like making designs for you guys. I like wearing things that motivate me. So hopefully motivating myself, it can motivate you as well. Even if you do things that you love, there are going to be times where it sucks. Keep that in mind. As I said, in order to be successful, you got to get first through the suck. It's not going to be easy. Life is hard. So that's the thing, guys. I don't know else what to say. Hopefully I'm going to come up with something because I think I'm forgetting something. No, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Anyway, hopefully this helped you. And yeah, do stay tuned for more videos like this. Hopefully, if you like this unfiltered content, do tell me. If you didn't really like it, do tell me. I'm always open to discussion. I think that the best is to do a live, and I'm going to do a live soon because, as I said, it's stupid. I feel stupid sometimes. Like it's still going back in the back of my head that I'm speaking to an inanimate object. It's like I'm those Japanese speaking to the tree, and I have all respect for the Japanese who do that. I just find it funny, of course. You know, we're entitled to our own opinions, but yeah, hoping to do a live soon so that we get to bounce ideas off of each other, get to talk really with each other. I do better with back and forth conversation, like I do with my girlfriend in our podcasts. And anyway, I hope you guys take care of yourselves this year and the next. We don't even know what's coming. You know, this pandemic, this virus thing is always coming up with something new, something better to control the masses. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it ain't good. Ain't good for all of us. So take care of yourselves, guys. And Kaiju Kong signing off. Stay strong.